How's it going, bros? Hyper here. So today, they actually nerfed the tanking artifact challenge, which is great news because I was able to get it on my first pull after the nerfs came in. In this video, I will go over everything you need to know to beat this artifact challenge and unlock your new appearance. I will go over everything phase by phase, as well as what legendaries will be useful and what consumables you should be using. Let's get started. First of all, a little background on the challenge and my character. At the time of doing the challenge, I was 911 equipped eye level with 39 points in my artifact weapon. You can see the talent build I'm using here on the screen, and the two legendaries I chose to use were Cephus and Prideas. I definitely suggest using Cephus, but I didn't have a tanking legendary, so Prideas was the next best option. For consumables, I suggest using Bear Tartar because the movement speed is really nice, and make sure you have some drums and gliders handy. The other consumables are standard, just potion, flask, and rune if you can afford it. Now let's take a look at the fight. In phase 1, you will be fighting Inquisitor Varys. He has 3 mechanics that you need to deal with. First one is Aura of Decay. This debuff is applied to you when you stand close to him, and each stack reduces your total health, so I would suggest resetting in the 4 to 6 stack range, depending on timers. His second ability is Mind Rend. This is just a hard-hitting cast that can be interrupted. Remember that the more stacks you have, the harder you will get hit. Over 7 stacks, you will almost get one shot without defensives up, so this is where Rune Tap and AMS come in very handy. Tremble Before Me is a great talent, because it interrupts quite a few of his casts if you keep Death and Decay under him. Also, use Death Grip and Asphyxiate to interrupt this. His most annoying ability is Drain Life, which you always need to have an interrupt for, otherwise he will heal back to full within seconds. Make sure you always keep an eye on his cast bar for this, or just make a WeakAuras for it. Varys summons 3 types of ads. First one you will see is the Tormenting Eye. For blood decays, they're immune to physical damage, so don't waste any death strikes or mortal rends on them. From time to time, these eyes will cast Inquisitive Stare on you. When their channel is finished, they will knock you backwards, unless you're facing them. The second type of ads are the Nether Horrors. They will spawn in packs of 4 in the corners of the room. If you grab aggro on at least one, they will all run to you. Their auto attack applies a stacking debuff that increases the amount of arcane damage you take. After a few seconds of being active, they will start casting and then channeling Nether Storm, which is an insanely hard-hitting AoE ability, but it has a very small range, so you can just step out of it. The third type of ads will be the Smoldering Infernals. These ads cast Smash when they get close to you, which is a frontal attack that will knock you back. Remember that the smaller the Infernal is, the less distance you will get knocked back if you are hit. Using a glider in case you're about to get knocked off the platform by an Infernal or an Eye is a great idea. After you kill an Infernal, they will become inactive for a while, then they will respawn with full health. So towards the end of the phase, you will need to deal with multiple Infernals at the same time. Let's look at the strategy for this phase. Your goal in this artifact challenge is to kill the bosses in phase 1 and 2 while protecting Velen and the Demon Hunter dude. In phase 1, the Demon Hunter is inactive, so don't worry about him. However, Velen will spawn orbs from time to time, which if you run over, you will be healed to full health, and all enemy units in the room will be disoriented and interrupted for a few seconds. My strategy for this phase is killing Varys as fast as I can, so I have to deal with as few Infernals as possible. Depending on your gear level, you might need to actually kill the eyes, but I chose to ignore them, and pray for some good spawns. I pop my offensive cooldowns on pull, and save Bone Storm to easily deal with the Nether Horrors. I usually reset my debuff around 4 stacks, but it depends on the situation and on the amount of cooldowns I have available. When Nether Horrors spawn, I aggro one of them and move all of them just to the outside of the boss's decay aura. That way I can cleave them while hitting the boss. Be careful not to get hit by their Nether Storm because they will kill you in a few ticks. Also, never tank them close to Velen, because their AoE will kill him very quickly. Whenever too many eyes are up and they are casting on me from different directions, I use an orb to reset the playing field. If any Nether Horrors are up, wait until they start channeling and then stun them, because this will prevent them from casting Nether Storm for a few seconds. I generally ignore the Infernals because they just get passively cleaved down, but this means you need to be very mindful of when they're casting Smash. Ideally, you want to transition the boss in under 3 minutes to phase 2. If you're taking longer than that, you'll need to look at where you can get more damage in. Just before transitioning, you want to kill off the remaining horrors or have them at low health, and you want to drop your stacks. If a fresh set of horrors spawn, just delay transitioning until you get these to low health. In phase 2, Highlord Kruul will be the boss you need to kill. When you transition, all the eyes in the room disappear, so you don't have to worry about them in this phase. However, you'll still need to deal with the Nether Horrors and the Infernals. Kruul has 3 abilities that you need to watch out for. First one is the Stomp ability, which leaves a puddle of green behind that ticks for a pretty high amount, so you need to move out of it. The second is Twisted Reflection. This is an interruptible cast, and if he manages to finish the cast, every attack he does will heal him, so you need to make sure you interrupt this. His most deadly ability is Annihilate. This does a large amount of physical damage and puts a debuff on you that increases the damage of the next one by 130%. This debuff does stack, so you need to kill Kruul before his 4th cast unless you have a huge defensive cooldown to survive. In this phase, you will also need to deal with some of the tethers that are flying around the room, and if you get hit by them, you just get pushed back. My strategy for this phase is popping Hero and my 2nd potion as soon as the boss is active. You want to burn him as quickly as possible before things get out of hand. In this phase, the Demon Hunter NPC is active, so you need to protect him. I always use an orb to interrupt the Nether Horrors, because otherwise they kill him really fast. Just make sure to interrupt his Twisted Reflection and use a defensive cooldown for Annihilate. I use Rune Tap for the first one, Icebound with Rune Tap for the second, and Vampiric Blood with Rune Tap for the third. Try saving your Bone Storm for when there are Nether Horrors and Infernals up at the same time, since this will clean them up really quickly. I really hope this guide helped you, and if you want to use my WeakAuras set or macros that I used to defeat this challenge, just check the video description. While I did get it on my first try this mage tower, it is worth noting that I have over 60 pulls on it before the nerf. If you have any useful tips or tricks to make this even easier, make sure to leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, please like and subscribe.